Let me see if I can hit some of these super chats with while you're here before we wrap. Thank you for doing this, Alex. I appreciate you. Hopefully, we do this someday in person. Here's an interesting one from Deadpool. He said, Alex, if you had to join one Christian denomination, which do you believe has the most consistency according to the history of the church and scripture? This is where Alex would have to pick a jersey.
Mormonism, of course.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
We don't consider them Christians. Give me another one.
No, well, that's the interesting thing is that they're sort of often not. I don't even know if they really like to consider themselves Christians as such. I think there's some really interesting. I've been learning a lot about Mormonism. Do you know, by the way, who the first ever U.S. presidential candidate to be assassinated was?
He was a Mormon.
It was Joseph Smith.
Whoa.
Oh, he was a candidate? Joseph Smith was running for the United States?
Yeah, he ran for president.
Wow.
There's a lot of really interesting stuff about.
What do you feel about Dan McClellan's Mormonism?
Well, I don't know much about it because he doesn't seem to speak very publicly about it. I quite admire the way that he strictly segregates his personal convictions from his scholarly work, and I think that makes the scholarly work more trustworthy, especially because he admits that they run counter to each other. Mm-hmm. At least I think he's done that. Like I think he did that.
He did in our conversation. I wonder if that gets him in trouble and up for any type of church discipline.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know, but I do admire Dan's scholarly approach. I think he's a quite careful and fair assessor of the Bible. I've got a lot to learn from him for sure. So I don't know anything about his Mormonism, but I think Mormonism's a fascinating religion in many ways. A lot of people aren't aware of its history and also of a lot of its doctrines and theological ideas and its different idea about what God is and all of this kind of stuff. And the history of persecution of Mormons in the United States is pretty amazing too. There's so much really interesting stuff. The extermination order of Missouri, where people were told to just kill them. It's an unbelievable history. And of course, Joseph Smith dies in a shootout in prison. It's one of the most dramatic stories of world religion in the world. Of course, it remains the case that we have, because it's so new, we have better eyewitness testimony to Moroni and the plates than we do, unfortunately, to the resurrection of Jesus, it seems. But that was also a point that raised some eyebrows in my original video, which I found quite entertaining.
Yeah. Alex, let me ask you this.
If you want to learn what we as Latter-day Saints believe, click on the link in the description below.